What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the DFS Picks and Prediction Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where me, Weezy, Monk, and Gordo break down the upcoming card from a DFS perspective and give our predictions on the fights as well. Also, be sure to leave a like here, subscribe to Pub Sports Radio so you don't miss out on the content throughout the week. Be sure to check out that not the prize picks. Be sure to check out the contest on pubsportsradio.com. It's a prediction contest every Saturday, $100 to the winner each week. So be sure to check that out. Get in there. Be sure to become a member of Pub Sports Radio as well. And as always, we're going to be going throughout the panel members, and we're going to be talking our fights to target, our fight to fade, our fighter to fade, our favorite dogs, some prize picks, our favorite GPP play, our favorite cash play, favorite value play, dart throw. We'll go over our lineups for last week. We'll talk about how we're doing thus far this year. Season first, we'll give our quick picks, and then we'll answer any questions you guys have. UFC Vegas 69, Jéssica Andrade, Erin Blanchfield. Not the best card in the world, but we got Uncle Weezy, Gordo, and Monk here. Weezy, you looking forward to this card?
It's all right. It's all right. I'm looking forward to it, I guess, like you would look forward to a colonoscopy. But hey, if we can make some money, it doesn't matter how crappy the fights on the card are. We'll look back on this fondly. So let's find some angles. We got to work hard this week.
Yep, for sure. It's definitely going to be a card that we'll be watching. Some fights I won't be watching. You can't force me to watch Philipe Land's OSP. You can't force me to do that. So that's one I'll be taking the fight off for. But Gordo, what is up? You looking forward to this card?
Yeah, I've been trashing this card all week like everybody else. But at the end of the day, we have fights. Sometimes these cards that are really bad give us entertainment, and that's exactly what I'm looking to do, right? Make some money on a card, hopefully have some entertainment on Saturday night. And as subpar as this card may be, you know what? I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah, it doesn't get more entertaining than William Knight, Marcin Prachnio on the main card. I'll tell you that. Monk, you looking forward to UFC Vegas 69?
Absolutely. We got the Josh Parisian over here going against some guy. We've got Juan Camilo Ronderos is back, baby. Let's go. Uncle Weezy's favorite fighter, from what I hear, back on the card. So I'm this is a card I'm genuinely excited for the main event, and that's probably about it.
Yep, this is definitely a good main event. You got the Jordan Wright in the co-main event. Never thought I'd
Jordan
see the
Wright.
day.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on some of these. But yep, guys, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Let's get into it. We're going to start with our fight to target, and I will start us off here. I'm going to go with the main event. Jéssica Andrade, Erin Blanchfield. The fight doesn't go to decision. It's sitting around minus 230. And I feel like both of these fighters have paths to just score 1,000,000 points in this fight. Like, if Erin Blanchfield is able to have her way and get this fight down to the mat, her ground game is nasty. She's a black belt in BJJ, vicious ground and pound. We've seen Jéssica Andrade finished on the mat before. If Erin Blanchfield's able to get this fight down to the mat, I think she could potentially dominate and put up a massive score. On the flip side, if Erin Blanchfield is not able to take down Jéssica Andrade, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be very ugly. And I think Jéssica Andrade is going to put up like 130 on her on the feet. So I guess it all comes down to whether or not Blanchfield is able to take down Jéssica Andrade. But I don't have a strong lean one way or another, but my strong lean is this fight's going to score very well for the winner. Jéssica Andrade, only 8,500. If she wins, I think she's going to score well over 100 points. And same thing with Blanchfield. If Blanchfield wins, pulls off the upset at 7,700, I see her scoring well over 100 points. So love this fight. I'm going to have it in pretty much all my lineups this week. Monk, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target this week?
Well, that is my 100% favorite fight to target, but I'll give you something different for some parity's sake. Give me the co-main event, the penultimate fight of the evening. Zach Pauga, Jordan Wright. They have 5 total fights in their past since 2021, I should say. The average fight time for those 5 fights is under 4 minutes apiece. 4 of those fights have gone over 100 points. All 5 of them have been finishes. 3 of them have been finishes in the first round, and 3 times in those fights, someone has made the optimal lineup, mostly their opponents. So now they are fighting each other. Someone is going down in this fight. There's no way this one touches like round 3. I'd be shocked if it went to round 2. Jordan Wright, the guy just goes down if you look at him funny. Zach Pauga went down to Usman's brother, I believe, at the finale of the Tough House, I believe it was. So both these guys seem to be chinny. If Prachnio wasn't on this card, Jordan Wright would have the worst chin on the card. He still might, but there is at least some contention there. So give me Pauga and Wright simply because these guys are terrible, and one of them is going to be staring at the lights.
Yep, sounds to me that's a phenomenal fight to target. Gordo, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target this week?
Yeah, both those fights are above the rest of my eyes as fights to target, but I'll give you a third one to be a bit different. Let's talk about Hernandez versus Miller. Both these guys are typically guys who like to go out there, get that finish early on. The fight doesn't go the distance, is lined around that minus 230, minus 240 to minus 250 range all over the market right now. It's a fight that people expect to finish inside the distance, and I tend to agree. Hernandez at 8.9K. I mean, this guy has power. He came to the UFC and pulled off the upsets of all upsets against Beneil Dariush. Everybody knows his story, and he's facing a guy who's going to be a lot older and a lot slower, in my opinion. So he's going to have the opportunity to get him out there round one. But we know Alex Hernandez. We know he gassed after that first round. We know he put himself in some questionable positions. So I'm not putting it past Jim Miller to get that finish itself. I'm just saying that this fight should finish one way or the other, and I like violence here, and it should score pretty well.
Yep, that's another one I do like. And Weezy, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target this week?
Yeah, it's the Andrade Blanchfield fight for sure. 5 rounds, striker versus grappler matchup for the most part here, where both fighters have a fantastic DraftKings work rate, and they both have paths to victory inside the distance, as the fight doesn't go to decision line is indicating to us, sitting at like minus 250 in a couple of places. So I think there's a lot of upside here for both fighters. You could get Blanchfield even in decision, getting 8 or 9 takedowns potentially, and you could have Andrade getting an early knockout here, or even an early submission. She's so dangerous anywhere the fight goes. So, and I mean, let's face it, it's the best fight on this card by a mile anyway. So you might as well have plenty of this fight.
Yep, it is definitely the best fight by a mile, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to the fight to fade. How about the worst fight on the card? I'm going to take Philipe Lens going against OSP. And I guess it's maybe a dangerous one to fade because, both these guys, I guess they could knock the other guy out. But I can just see a situation where like the winner scores like 40 points. Like I can see a situation where just nothing happens for 15 minutes. And that's kind of where I'm leaning. I mean, OSP these days just goes in there and just does absolutely nothing. And I mean, Philipe Lens is not much better. I think this fight probably goes to decision. I think it's probably really greasy, and I think there's just a lot better fights on the card. So I'm going to be fading this fight. Maybe there's a knockout round one, but I'm going to take my chances in saying this one's boring and nothing happens in it. Weezy, how about you? What fight are you fading this week?
Same fight. I mean, I didn't even want to write much here. It's just they're low volume bums, both of them. Same Preux and Lens. Lens might try to wrestle, but I don't think that'd be smart. I don't think he wants to be on the ground with St. Preux. And St. Preux just doesn't do anything anymore. He just looks like he's waiting in line at the DMV when he's in there. So, I mean, somebody might get knocked out. It could obviously happen because neither one of these guys seems to care that much. But, and then you also got to worry about is Lens even showing up? And that's a serious possibility that he doesn't. 10 out of his last 13 fights that were scheduled to happen didn't happen.
Yeah, we'll see if this fight even happens. I hope it doesn't happen. But Gordo, what fight are you fading this week?
Yeah, I mean, that one's not very pretty because you have two fighters who you open up their pages, none of them put up 100 points, none of them put up triple digit points. And my fight to fade is going to be kind of similar. I'll take MBS and Länsberg. I think the price tag for MBS is too high this week at 9.5. We'll talk about her, my fighter to fade, but this is a fight I'm not getting to too often. I don't think it has too much volatility compared to the other matchups around them. It's hard to back MBS because although she does have that really good ground game, she's put up 3 first-round subs and none of them scored above 95 points. So she's really interesting. She's not a girl who goes out there and you can bank on really living up to her 9.5K price tag. So that coupled with the fact that although I don't think that she's going to score very well, I do think Bueno Silva wins. Not a fight I want too much ownership in.
Yep, fair enough. Monk, how about you?
Let's go 2-2 here. I'll go Bueno Silva as well and Länsberg. Silva is the most expensive fighter at 9,500, guys. She scores 2 points per minute, 83 points per win. If you want someone at 9,500, give me like Derek Lewis 4 years ago that scores 2 points a minute. But putting Silva there is quite ridiculous. As Gordo said, even when she wins by sub, on average 91.3 points. She's 9,500. My math, not so good, but I don't even think that's 10x. Lina Länsberg on the other side, never been subbed in her professional career. Say what you want about her. Maybe this is the time. I don't know. I'm just saying she's never been subbed in 7 professional losses. She scores half a point better per minute than Bueno Silva. 81 per win. She gives up 92 per loss. None of these numbers are blowing me out of the water. The strength of schedule here is not great. It's actually 5 points better for Länsberg. Yeah, give me this as a big fade. I don't know if I'm going to have any 9,500 in my lineups this week. I mean, I just don't see it.
Yep, I can definitely agree with that. Let's go to our fighter to fade, and we will start with you, Gordo. What fighter are you fading this week?
Yeah, I was going to talk about MBS. I already did. So I'm just going to keep this one short and go with Philipe Lins. He was the guy I circled down as my fighter to fade, 8.8K. The fights that OSP and Lins get themselves interacted with are just these low volume affairs that don't score very well. I mean, Philipe Lins, 91 points his last win. I don't think that same game plan is going to really materialize against OSP. So I don't think this fight's going to score well as a whole. You guys covered a lot of the good parts. So I'm just going to say fade Philipe Lins.
Yep, I'm fading him as well, and I'm also fading Bueno Silva. I mean, yeah, 90,500. I can't get there. I think she's a really good grappler, but she's not going for takedowns. She's completed no takedowns in the UFC. That's 8 fight sample there. She's only attempted 1. The only way Bueno Silva hits 9,500 here, hits value, is if Lina Länsberg goes for a takedown within the first round, and I don't really see why she would do that. And even if Länsberg does take her down. Is she going to score over 100 points in a first round submission win? I'm not even sure about that. I mean, it's just an easy fade. I'm not paying 9,500 for Silva. I'd rather play like anybody else in the slate than her. Pretty easy fade there. Weezy, how about you? Who you fading?
Yeah, it's the easiest fade on the card. 9,500 for a girl who scores 2 points a minute. I mean, imagine that. Paying 9,500 for somebody that scores 60 points in a decision win. You can't do that. She doesn't wrestle at all. 0 takedowns in 6 UFC fights or 7 UFC fights, something like that. And she's never landed a knockdown. Lina Länsberg has never been knocked down. And Lina Länsberg, like you said, has never been subbed in a loss. So the paths for Mayra Bueno Silva to pay off her salary here they seem to be very limited outside of a very early submission.
Yep, totally agree. Monk, how about you?
Man, yeah, she would have to have so many things going against so many different trends for her to make optimal lineup. And I love 9,500 salary, but I cannot back it this week. I will switch it up though quickly. Marcin Prachnio, $8,000. Get me away from this guy. 3 points a minute is decent, especially on this card. As if you listen to my game theory show, there are several people around 2 points a minute. It's insane. But Prachnio only scoring 87 per win. Guy's got one of the worst chins on the entire card, guys. He got a decision loss to Philipe Lins, who's probably one of the worst fighters on this card, if that tells you anything. Lost to Slow Mike, first round KO, and got KO'd by Ankalaev as well in the first round. And Ankalaev is not what I would exactly call a quick starter by any means. So I like William Knight in this one personally. I can't believe I just said that out loud. But yeah, I'm going to be fading Prachnio. I just don't like much about him. I think if he wins, he probably beats Knight by decision. I really don't see him KOing Knight, even though he does have a ton of KOs on his professional record. So yeah, just give me Prachnio. I don't think he wins. And even if he does, I don't think he scores very well, averaging 71 points, or I think he scored rather 71 points in his decision win. So big fade on Prachnio.
Sounds good to me. All right. Favorite dog. We will start with you, Gordo. Gordo, what is your favorite dog for UFC Vegas 69?
Oh, well, I know there's some pretty obvious options, so I was going to go a bit off board here, and I was going to talk about Evan Elder this week as a favorite dog, because I was expecting you guys to cover the other favorite ones. I just think that was the guy who's going to cause problems for a guy like Sadikov, just because I'm not like let's back up a bit here for a second. I went against Sadikov in Contender Series, didn't look very well for me, but in doing so, Sadikov still didn't really impress me as much as I wanted him to. Evan Elder, the thing we remember most from him last time was his resiliency, his ability to stay in the fight, and that's not the same thing I saw from Sadikov. I saw a guy who has power, but doesn't really have the most minute winning in my ability, doesn't have the best ability to react to these punches. So when Elder's going to be in his face at all times, probably win the minutes, and also try to make Sadikov look uncomfortable, I think he warrants a dog shot at 7.6K. I think he has the ability to score very well by just throwing Sadikov off his groove. So I think he's worthy of a good dog shot, but I do think that there are some other good dogs that you guys are going to be mentioning shortly as well.
Yeah, there's a couple ones sticking out for sure. Weezy, who's your favorite dog this week?
I like that Evan Elder pick. I'm this close to betting him this week. I feel like, Sadakov's line is just a little bit wide. I see that fight as being 50-50. So a lot of value on Evan Elder. But I'm going to give you Erin Blanchfield, a very obvious one. She's averaging 115 DraftKings points per fight. She's got very high grappling upside against a fighter who got ragdolled by Valentina Shevchenko at 125 pounds. Valentina, not the best wrestler in the division, plain and simple. But Erin Blanchfield is very good in terms of getting the fight to the mat at a very high percentage. Short turnaround for Jéssica Andrade here. 2 weight cuts and 2 fights within a 4-week period here. And she's taking this one on short notice. It's an absolutely smash spot for Erin to be optimal if she finds that path to victory in this fight against the KG veteran in Jéssica Andrade.
Yep, I mean, that's what I went with as well. She's my highest exposed dog on the entire slate. I think I went like about 59% on Andrade and like 39% Blanchfield. So I do actually lean on Andrade in the matchup, but in terms of a dog, she is my highest owned there. I think if she does win this fight, she puts up an absolute massive score. I think if she can get on top of Andrade, she can definitely do some damage and probably even get a finish at some point. So yeah, going to have a ton of Blanchfield, but as the main event as a whole, I'm going to have a ton of as well. I think like 98% overall, which I could have even went a little bit more, but it's a fight that is a must target in my opinion. Monk, how about you? Who is your favorite dog this week?
Well, I'm going to save my Erin Blanchfield love for the next category. So I will, this guy might as well be named Voldemort because I can't believe I'm going to say his name. Jordan Wright, $7,000, guys. Hear me out before you rip my head off. He's going against Zach Pauga. But this guy only has 6 professional fights. He's lost 1 of them. I mean, it was in the tough house. We don't know if this guy's a fraud or not. 6 professional fights. You can't sit here and tell me. I can't tell you that he's awful, and you can't tell me that he's any good. So we've got to be somewhere in the middle. Meanwhile, Jordan Wright has 16 fights. I believe 6 in the UFC. 6. He is 1-4 in his past 5. When he did win, he scored 112. And overall, he's putting up 5.5 points per minute. Now he's giving up almost 6 points a minute in his last 5 fights and 107 when he loses. There's not a ton of dogs that I really like, especially in DraftKings that have an overwhelming chance to make the optimal lineup. If anybody does, it's the kill or be killed Jordan Wright. I mean, if you even touch his chin, he's probably going down. But if he touches yours, there is a chance. And we've seen Zach Pauga get touched in his chin before and dropped immediately. So, man, slim pickings for underdogs on a slim pickings type of card. Give me Jordan Wright, and I guarantee you his ownership is going to be way low, and you could probably double it and get 30%. If he hits, I mean, if he even wins, he's easily making optimal at 7K. So give me a chance on Jordan Wright here.
Yep, nothing wrong with that. Anytime Jordan Wright fights, you got to play some Jordan Wright. I mean, the guy has so much upside. Also a lot of downside, but a lot of upside as well. All right, let's move on to our prize picks section here. Be sure to check out prize picks and use that promo code PubSports. We went 4 for 4 last show, so maybe we'll get another 4 for 4 this show. And we will start with you, Monk. What are you liking for prize picks this week?
Well, man, let's see. I'm going to just take the easy one. I brought it up pre-show. Zach Pauga under 30.5 significant strikes. I mean, come on, guys. Is Jordan Wright going to be able to take 31 strikes from Zach Pauga? I mean, the answer to that question is no. And is Pauga, I mean, is he even going to be able to last long enough to throw 30 strikes, whether he wins or loses? I don't think so. Give me Zach Pauga under 30.5 significant strikes.
For me, I'm going to go with, there's actually a lot that stuck out to me, but my favorite is probably the Mayra Bueno Silva under 90.5 fantasy score. I mean, I just don't see in what world she scores over 90.5 outside of like a first round submission, which, like I said, I don't think she's going to go for takedowns. I don't think Länsberg's going to go for takedowns. I see this playing out on the feet. I see it being somewhat competitive. So I just really struggle to see her get 91 without an early finish and without any takedowns. So I think it's a pretty easy under. Like I could see her winning and scoring like 70. So give me Mayra Bueno Silva under 90.5. Weezy, what is sticking out to you on prize picks this week?
There's not a lot I like this week. The takedown props all seem like that they should be exactly where they are, but I think I am going to go with AJ Fletcher over 1.5 takedowns. The problem there is that I could see him landing one big shot and ending this fight, but There's not a lot that I like here. I was looking at these significant strike props, and I feel like they're all right where they should be. So I'm going to go with AJ Fletcher getting 2 takedowns or more.
Sounds good. And Gordo, how about you?
Yeah, that one was mine as well. So let me just find another one real quick. I had another one queued because I do really like that over prop for AJ Fletcher. It is my favorite one there. But let's go with why can I have those open? It is a tough one, guys, for this week in terms of
you know what? You take that one, man. I'm going with Nazim Sadikov under 87.5 points fantasy score.
I actually have that one circled too.
Yep,
because
same.
All so those. Let's share it then.
Yeah, let's share those because we both like that. We both like the AJ Fletcher. We both like the Nazim Sadikov under. So let's go with those.
Quickly for a fifth one. Do you guys like Hernandez under 10 minutes? What do you think about that?
I don't personally.
No? I don't mind it. It just wouldn't be my first option because I do see the path to decision here. But my gut says it finishes, if that says anything. But my gut said a lot of fights finished last week too, so you never know.
I'm surprised nobody said the under on Philipe Lens 93. Like, how the hell does this guy score 93 points? That's a lot.
Yeah, it's just
I didn't see that one.
Maybe Ovince goes out there and taps before there's even the first.
Yeah, that's definitely on the table. But yeah, so we actually gave out a lot so there's a lot of options there. Be sure to check out Prize Picks using promo code PUBSports. All right. We got an angry person in the chat. Very angry. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you're having a bad day, Rob, but calm down. I'm not gonna put you in timeout because I don't know what's going on, Rob, but hopefully you start having a better day. My goodness. Anyway, we'll move on to that caught me off guard. Moving on to our favorite GPP play. We will start with you, Weezy. What are you liking this week?
I'm going with Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, you guys. AJ Fletcher against one Themba Garimbo, who it's very, very confusing as to how this guy got a shot in the UFC. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who pulls wins out of his asses, and then when he does lose, just looks like he's not UFC level. Gina Mazzani's brother absolutely destroyed Themba Garimbo in South Africa. So Gina Mazzani's brother got on a plane and flew for 35 hours and made it look like he walked across the street to the arena to whoop this dude's ass. So I don't see much of a path here for Garimbo outside of like a Hail Mary submission. And I think that AJ Fletcher is going to dead this dude, and it's going to be violent.
Yep, I'll be talking about AJ Fletcher very soon. For me, I'm actually going to get a little weird here. Let's get a little weird. I'm going William Knight, 8,200. Marcin Prachnio, the dude's been knocked out 4 times, all 4 in the first round. William Knight has a lot of power. First, we got to see if the dude makes weight. If he does, then I'll like him a lot more here. But I guess he struggles to make that 205. Last fight at heavyweight, he weighed like 250, which I was shocked. I thought he was going to come in at like 225, 226, but no, it was 250. So I got to see him on the scales here. But yeah, I think he can absolutely touch a 10 of Marcin Prachnio, who's been finished a ton by strikes, and Knight brings the power. It's a sloppy, greasy fight, but at 8,200, I feel like it's one that, is probably going to be pretty important here. So give me Knight. I think he finishes Prachnio, potentially even in the first round. Gordo, how about you? Who's your favorite GPP play?
Now, the answer to this question is AJ Fletcher, but I feel like getting weird too. And I was going to save this for my dart throw, but let's just talk about it now. GPP, give me Askhabov, a guy that everyone has been counting out this week, a guy that's going to go extremely overlooked, extremely underowned. And I get why he hasn't fought anybody, hasn't proved it, but he's a guy who, if anybody is going to go out there and do something stupid, it's going to be Jamal Emmers. And if anybody can capitalize that, I think Ashkabov's path to victory is going to score pretty well at very, very low ownerships. And we're talking about GPP. We're talking about getting different. Ashkabov has seen that he has decent offensive tools. And although he doesn't have the best defensive weapons, sometimes you don't really need defense. He's got to capitalize on the mistakes of Jamal Emmers. So the play for GPP is AJ Fletcher. But if we're getting weird with William Knight, we got to talk about the fraudulent record of Askhabov as well.
Yeah, I think that's another really, really good fight to target as well, that Emmers Askhabov fight. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking as a GPP play?
I like that he said fraudulent record. The last guy Askhabov fought. His last 5 opponents have 1 win, and the guy before that guy's last 5 opponents have 0 wins.
Yeah.
So just pump the brakes on his strength of schedule. I do like him in that fight, though. I'm going to take my opportunity to talk about Erin Blanchfield, my favorite spot on the card. She's probably going to have the most ownership overall. I'll have a ton of Jéssica Andrade as well, disclaimer. But Blanchfield, 5.8 points a minute, allows 1.4. She's 1,400 under her average salary, guys, almost 2.5 points per minute in takedowns and control time. Yes, her strength of schedule is nowhere near Jéssica Andrade, and that's the one point that kind of dampens this for me. But women's flyweights go 15% under owned, guys. They're the second best optimal rate out of any weight class. It's featherweight and then it's women's flyweight at almost 54.5%. So target this fight for sure. I'm going to have more Blanchfield than Andrade. She's got a height difference. She's younger. The younger fighter wins 58% of the time. Height, the taller fighter wins 52% of the time. Reach, longer reach wins 51% of the time. Jéssica Andrade is also on extremely short notice in which he just fought about 4 weeks ago. I believe Weezy talked about that. Those fighters win 36% of the time. There's a ton of trends and stats that point at Blanchfield. The strength of schedule is the one that worries me, but she will be my most owned pick of the week for sure, and one of my favorite DraftKings plays. Her ceiling is through the roof, as is Andrade, so get both of them in your lineup. But I love Erin Blanchfield here for sure.
So what are the stats on how many times the more handsome fighter wins?
I mean, has anyone ever seen Alexander Hernandez and Jéssica Andrade in the same room? Has this happened? Has this actually happened?
Alexander Hernandez?
Yeah, look.
I don't think so.
Pull up a picture of him, the media day today, and tell me that's not Jéssica Andrade.
Really?
Okay. I dare you to tell me that.
I'll have to take a look.
But no, I'm actually halfway through tracking my handsomeness stats. So yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one.
All right. I mean, the handsome fighter won last week with Loma, but we'll see if the handsome fighter can continue the trend with Andrade this week.
2 for 2.
I think we got everybody for this section. And all good, Rob. All good, man. All right, we'll move on to our cash play. I'm going to kick us off here, and Weezy talked about him. He's the Ash champion of the week for Weezy. It's AJ Fletcher, 9,100. I think he goes out there and makes really quick work of this Grimbo guy. I'm just not sold on Grimbo. He's 32 years old, making his debut. Wasn't impressed with the guy. Had not fought the best competition. I don't think his striking's great. His striking defense is great. I don't think his chin's great. I don't think his takedown defense is great. And AJ Fletcher has a lot of power. I think he can knock him out on the feet. And I think he can take him down and pound him out or get a sub. So I like Fletcher. I like him to win probably in the very first round and a half. If it does get extended, I do have some concerns about the cardio of Fletcher. He does tend to slow down, and he is taking this on short notice, but I don't even think it gets there. I think he finishes Grimbo early. Grimbo has been finished in 2 of his 3 losses. So give me some AJ Fletcher and cash. One of my favorite plays on the slate. Gordo, how about you? Who is your favorite cash play this week?
That's 3 times now. I just want to talk about AJ Fletcher. He's already being talked about, man. But no, we're going to go towards Clayton Carpenter, 9.3K cash play. I think he's just better than Ronderos everywhere. We're not going to make any John Coke comments. We're just going to keep moving forward and just talk about the fact that I think he's just be better everywhere, quicker to the punch, quicker on the ground. I think he's going to be winning a lot of these grappling exchanges, and I'm going to not put a finish past him here. So he's just a guy with a super high floor, in my opinion. At 9.3, I think he gets it done nonetheless. And I don't think that ceiling's too low either. It's a guy with great upside, but also a guy who wins a lot of the time in my eyes.
There we go. And Justin in the chat saying, if everyone was wondering, I saw her OnlyFans. It's a match. It's blue down there. And he's talking about Jéssica Andrade. So Justin doing the research. Thank you for that, Justin. I was wondering about Jéssica Andrade down there. Monk, how about you? Who's your favorite cash play?
I would also just like to add on to the fight, that specific fight. Optimal fighters fight optimally, and that's what we learned with Alexander Volkanovski last week, guys. Those 2 fighters, the main event, have made Optim lineup a ton in their past couple of fights, so be sure to target that one, even if it does involve Smurfette, apparently. I'm going to go with Mayra Bueno Silva for my cash lineup. I know there's people clamoring out there, I have to play the most expensive fighter. That's just what I do. I have it has the best odds. Well, this is for you then. Play her in cash, guys. Don't play her in GPPs. She should walk all over Lina Länsberg, who's going to be 41 years old in less than a month. There's literally a 10-year age gap here, 10 years plus, well, 9.5 years plus. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk up Bueno Silva. She should win here easily over Lina Länsberg. Play her in cash if you want easy 80 points and you hate DraftKings value.
All right. And Weezy, what is your cash play for this week?
Well, Gordo may not want to talk about Khusein, but you know your Uncle Weezy does. I'm going with Clayton Carpenter because he's fighting a cokehead, okay? He's fighting that cokehead in Ronderos, and this was Ronderos accepting the Dvorak fight on short notice, okay? Yeah, I'll take the fight. That's for Dixon Sider there for who asked for the impression, and yes, that is exactly how that happened.
You need money to buy cocaine, Weezy. You just do. It's not free.
Dude, yeah, I mean, you got to take those fights in order to be able to buy those 8 balls. You know, they don't buy themselves. So,
no, they don't.
Yeah, dude, this is it should be a really good spot for Clay. I mean, like, this kid is incredibly well-rounded. He's been fighting since he was 4 or 5 years old. His dad was taking him around the country when he was 10, 11, 12 years old. This kid's got a win over Aaron Pico in a pancration match back in 2009. That's 14 years ago, and this kid's 26, okay? So he's been fighting forever. And, you know, I mean, like, the fact that this guy is testing positive Ronderos for cocaine, you know, the day of a fight means that he was doing it less than 48 hours before the fight.
That's bad fight IQ.
Yeah, that is really bad fight IQ. It doesn't make cocaine is not a performance enhancer, everybody. I've worked on the floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange and the Chicago Board of Trade. I can assure you cocaine is very bad for you. Bet against the cokehead. Go with Clayton Carpenter.
Yep, I will be taking that advice, Weezy. All right, let us go to our favorite value play. And I'll kick us off. I'm going with Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright, he's 7K. I mean, he's somebody you have to take a look at. Like, Jordan Wright has, honestly, some of the best upside on the slate because he has 60-second upside. He can go in there and very well knock out Zach Pauga within the first 60 seconds to 2.5 minutes. The problem with Jordan Wright, and there's a lot of problems with him, the problem, though, is if he does not finish you early, he's going to get finished himself. He's going to fall off a cliff. He has no durability, but I don't think Zach Pauga has the best durability as well. So I think Wright is going to have plenty of opportunities to go out there and land something big and put Zach Pauga out within the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And if Jordan Wright does that, he's going to score over 100 points at only 7K. So I think there's a lot of value on Jordan Wright. Honestly, I don't get why Zach Pauga is like minus 300. I know people think Jordan Wright sucks, but I don't think Zach Pauga is that good. And Jordan Wright is going to be very dangerous early. So Jordan Wright is my value play. I'm going to have a decent amount of them this week. Gordo, how about you? Who is your favorite value play this week?
Yeah, well, I'll talk about Wright with the one remaining category, but for this one, for the value play, there's only one person in my eyes, and it's someone who's been talked about a lot. It's Erin Blanchfield. I think at 7.7, she's got insane value, insane upside because, I mean, this girl scores great. Her path to victory is going to score through the roof here, and you got all these question marks coming in on Hernandez or Andrade, whatever you want to call them. And I think that this is a spot that you have to look at someone in Blanchfield who has the ability to go out there, land takedowns at a very high rate, and score very well in the process. I mean, she averages 114 through her 3 fights in the UFC. She has good upside. I think she's still improving as a fighter. And if she is to go out there and cement herself as a top UFC fighter, she's going to do so in very high scoring fashion. All these guys said a lot of very key things about that, so I don't have much to add, but I think she has great value at 7.7.
Absolutely. Weezy, how about you? Who's your favorite value play this week?
Just a punt shot here on Lina Länsberg. She's only 6,700 this week. There's actually some potential wrestling upside. She does get takedowns when she wins fights, and she racks up a lot of control time when she wins fights, even if it's just on the cage. You know, that racks up some points. It's something that you can be landing these little chipping shots, getting 0.03 points for every second that you hold your opponent up against the cage. If you do that for large swaths of a fight, you can still pay off your salary. And when your salary is only 6,700, it doesn't take much to do it. Here's the other thing. Mayra Bueno Silva spends almost half of her fights in control time positions. She's losing 90% of those control time positions. So there is a path here for Länsberg to not only win this fight, but also to score decent. You know, I'm not saying she's going to go out there and score 100 points or anything like that if she wins. More likely around 70, 75. But with a punt on the minimum salary that you have, if you find those other fighters that wind up winning and winning inside the distance, Lina Länsberg will be the key to open up enough salary for you to get a really high score.
Yep, sounds good. I don't have any myself, but it makes a lot of sense. I'm concerned about the upside, but I think like for cash, like I don't mind Lina because I think this fight at the very worst like goes to decision. So I don't mind her in cash. I'm debating between her and someone else for cash games this week. I think we still have Monk, right? Monk, who is your favorite value play this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the other side of the person I just talked about, and that's Jéssica Andrade, because at 8,500, guys, she can easily pay off that salary to make optimal lineup. Since the low-scoring week last week, the ideal to make the optimal lineup is 13.33x is what you want on average to make the optimal lineup, which is 113.32 points for $8,500, which is what Jéssica Andrade's salary is. She's averaging 116 per win in her last fight, guys. She's the only person on the card averaging more points than her ideal score for optimum value, which is that 13.33 number. Her average value per win is over 12. She's only $20 more than her average salary. She outscores her opponents by 1.23 points per minute and has the highest ceiling on the entire card. When she wins by KO, 120. When she wins by sub, 92. When she wins by decision in her last five, 131 points. It is absolutely insane. I talked up Erin Blanchfield and I stand by that, but I would be doing Jéssica Andrade and the chat a disservice if we did not talk about her insanely large DraftKings upside as well. Almost 5 points a minute. Yes, she gave up almost 140 when she lost to Shevchenko, and that's why we like Blanchfield's path to victory so much. But Andrade, her path to victory is 13, 14x and a trip on the optimal lineup. I'd be shocked if Andrade wins this fight and does not make optimal. So target this fight overall. And I still think at 8,500, a favorite salary, she has one of the best value opportunities on the card.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to our dart throw. Weezy, we'll start with you. Who is your dart throw of the week?
What did I put down? Oh, I put down the Beverly Hills Ninja, Jordan Wright. You know, I mean, he's been getting his ass shaved so consistently and for so long. I think people forgot that this guy's got power and that Zach Pauga does not have an ironclad chin. So if Jordan lands a big shot early and finishes the chinny Pauga at his $7,000 salary, he's going to be optimal for sure. Low floor, definitely a low floor. I mean, this guy can come out here and score 2 or 3 points for you because he does not have a good chin himself. But when this guy wins, he wins early, he wins violently. Like Brady said, 60-second upside. So as a dart throw for a super low salary, there's nothing wrong with Jordan Wright this week.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's always in play for a dart throw. I'm going to go with Jim Miller here, 7,300. I'm actually picking Hernandez to win the fight, but I mean, it's really hard to trust Alexander Hernandez at this point. I mean, this is a guy in Hernandez who seems to just, he had a lot of hype, but the hype is completely gone now. Miller's only 7,300. He has a lot of power. Nowadays, it's weird. Like Jim Miller at one point, I think he had like 6 or 7 first round finishes in a row. Now he's getting these second round finishes, which I do like there. But yeah, he has power. He has a good submission game. If this fight hits the mat, Miller's going to have opportunities there. And if this fight does finish, Miller could potentially get a knockout if Hernandez does slow down. Like Hernandez is coming in on short notice as well. So at 7,300, I think there's a lot of upside for Miller. But this is a fight as a whole I really do like to target. I think Gordo brought it up earlier, but I think the winner is going to score very well on this one. Monk, who's your dart throw this week?
I'm going to go with someone that we haven't talked about, and rightfully so, and that is Josh Parisian at $7,200, going against a newcomer, Jamal Pogues, who would have scored 58 points in his DraftKings win over whoever the hell he fought in Dana White Contender Series, Hanato Jr. Yeah, Parisian scores 3 points a minute, 100 per win in his last 5. I guess there's only 2 wins in the UFC over Bordeaux and Martinez. But who's to say Pogues doesn't belong in that category as well? We have no idea. He's been finished in all 3 of his professional losses, has Jamal Pogues. Parisian lost to Don'Tale Mayes. I'm not sure, was that the I humped you to death fight?
That's
the
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say about that. And then he lost to his brother Parker Porter by decision. I like Parisian here. He's the UFC vet with 20 fights over, coming in against a newcomer. Newcomers win only 40% of the time. I think this line is way too wide, although Parisian does give up a ton when he loses. But also his average value when he wins is 12, and he's $1,000, almost $1,100 cheaper than his average salary. So I don't think he deserves to be this low. He should be like 76, 7,800. So give me Parisian for a dart throw here over the newcomer.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately do have some Parisian myself, Monk, so we'll see if that works out. Gordo, how about you? Who's your dart throw this week?
All right, hear me out. We're going to talk about OSP. And I know there's a lot of question marks to come with that, but we're talking about dart throws here. And we have seen a version of Philipe Lins, and I'm not saying OSP hasn't had this happen to himself either, but Philipe Lins is a guy who got knocked out by Tanner Bose in the first round. And we know I love my Canadians. I love my mullets. Like, Tanner Bose is a legend, but that shouldn't be happening a lot of the time. I think that the one thing that Ovince St. Preux still has is finish equity in this spot. And I think that the more talented fighter at this point in time is Philipe Lins, but we don't know what happens to him. We don't know what version of him shows up. So if he's the type of guy to go out there, be bonked, I think OSP still has power. I think OSP can still put his lights out. 7.4, I think he's going to be extremely low owned this week. And that's what you want in a dart throw. Guy who's low owned, guy who has finished potential. Just saying, there's OSP for you.
Oh boy. Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens. I don't have any OSP this week, so maybe it comes back to haunt me, but I can't get there with that fight. But that's why it's a dart throw. We will see. All right, we'll go over our lineups from last week. We'll see how we did. We'll talk about the current first place guy, and I'm pulling it up, and I have it. And in fourth place last week, we had Monk with Makhachev 94. Jack Della Maddalena 106, Malarkey 81, Josh Emmett 21, Menafield 58, and Bukowskis 51, scoring 413. In third place was I can't read today.
Weezy.
Okay, Weezy with Jack Jenkins 97, Maddalena 106, Pedro 35, Blake Builder 85, Menafield 58, and then Volkanovski 62. And second place was me, Makhachev 94, Rodriguez 131, Malarkey 81, Krut 62, Emmett 21, and Volkanovski 62, scoring 452.85. And in first place was Gordo, Maddalena 106, Loma Luke Boomy 88, Kletzen Rodriguez 131, Jimmy Krut 62, Prado 17, and Volkanovski 62, scoring 468.73. So pretty close week between all of us. But Gordo, you got the job done. Congratulations.
Extremely close week. We've had 4 weeks so far, and I think we're still between 100 points for all of us. So it's been fun.
Yeah, we're all pretty dang close here. So overall stats for the year, we are, I think, 4 cards in. We got Monk in fourth right now with 1625. I'm in third with 1698. Weezy in second with 1720. And then Gordo in first with 1782. Congrats, Gordo. Thus far in 4 cards, you are in first place.
You know what, man? I think I got the strategy down. I put in a lineup, and then I say, oh, I'm going to change this, and I just forget to. And somehow it works out okay. So maybe we'll do that again this week.
Perfect.
That could definitely work for sure. I said I wasn't going to change last week, but I ended up changing, and thank goodness I did.
You just muted yourself, dude.
Yeah, you
did.
Accidentally, like right in the middle of the sentence, too.
How did that happen?
I don't know. That was really weird. I don't know.
Somebody hack me? Anyway, where was I?
He must be silenced.
Yeah, what's going on? That was weird. I wasn't even touching my computer. Anyway, Weezy, you got your lineup for this week?
Yeah, sure do, man. So up top, I got Clay Carpenter. Right below that, AJ Fletcher, Zach Pauga, Jamal Emmers, Erin Blanchfield, cold-blooded, and Lina Länsberg as a punt.
All right. For me, you know what? I'll let you go first, Monk. Monk, who you got this week for your lineup?
It is ugly, and yeah. We'll go with this one. Clayton Carpenter, AJ Fletcher, Nazim Sadikov, William Knight, Thick Willie, Erin Blanchfield, and Jordan Wright.
Goodness, we have 4 of the same, Monk. 4 of the same. I'm going
Nice.
Carpenter, Fletcher, Knight, Wright, and then the other 2 I have different is I went with Jéssica Andrade, the very handsome Jéssica Andrade, and I went with Jamal Emmers. Monk, what lineup do you have this week?
I just gave you mine. You can go ahead, Gordo.
Oh, Gordo. It's been a long day, apparently. Gordo, what do you got for this week?
All right. Well, this is going to change. No, it won't. I'm kidding. Clayton Carpenter, 9.3. AJ Fletcher, 9.1. Alex Hernandez, 8.9. We're going to go Erin Blanchfield, 7.7. Evan Elder, 7.6. And then why not put my money where my mouth is and take OSP 7.4? No one else will. Let's get different.
Let's go.
Dude, if OSP wins, he's probably optimal somehow because nobody will have him.
No, nobody will have him for sure.
Let's have some fun.
Yep, looks like if Jéssica Andrade wins this week, I'll be looking really good, and if she loses, I'll probably finish last. So I like it. Let's see what happens. So we'll go over our quick picks before I forget. I think we forgot last week, and somebody was not too happy about it. So I don't want to forget this week. So I'll kick us off. I'm taking Andrade in the main event. Give me Jordan Wright. Give me Jamal Pogues, William Knight, Alexander Hernandez, Bueno Silva, Jamal Emmers, Philipe Lins, Sadikov, AJ Fletcher, and Clayton Carpenter. Weezy, what are your quick picks for this week?
I'm going with the handsome Jéssica Andrade. I'm going with the Beverly Hills Ninja Jordan Wright. I am going with Jamal Pogues, Marcin Prachnio, Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez, Evan Elder, Mayra Bueno Silva, Khusein Askhabov, St. Preux, AJ Fletcher, his Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, and a close second is going to be Clayton Concrete Carpenter.
Is that his nickname?
That is his nickname, my
wow.
friend.
Okay.
And Juan Camilo Ronderos is 100, and that is the purity of his cocaine.
I was going to say Clayton should change his nickname to Clayton Cocaine Carpenter. We might get a fight here.
He might get sniffed up if he does that, man.
Oh, yeah. Gordo, what are your quick picks for this week?
Yeah, we're going to go Jéssica Andrade in the main event. We're going to go Zach Pauga. We're going to go Jamal Pogues, William Knight, because Thick Willie. I didn't talk about him today, but we love some Thick Willie.
Thick Willie.
Alexander Hernandez. You know what? On my video, I predicted Sadikov, but I'm leaning more and more towards Evan Elder. So let's say Evan Elder, Maria Bueno Silva, Jamal Emmers. For the memes, let's say Ovince St. Preux, AJ Fletcher, and Clayton Carpenter.
All right. Monk, how about you?
All right, we're going to go with Cocaine Carpenter. We're going with AJ Fletcher. We're going with Philipe Lins. Askhabov. We'll go Bueno Silva. We'll go Nazim Sadikov. Alex Hernandez. Thick Willie. We're going to go Josh Parisian, baby. Jordan Wright. And I got to go with wishful thinking here. Erin Blanchfield, main event.
All right. So lastly, we're going to answer any questions in the chat. If you guys have not typed any questions, you have any questions, you want anything that we want to talk about, bring up, be sure to type it in the chat now. Also, be sure to like if you haven't already. Do appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. I'm just going to scroll through here. And Rob's saying, did anybody see Jéssica's interview? She's going to run through Erin. Anybody see Jéssica's interview today? I didn't watch it yet.
No. Not yet. I need to catch up on today's stuff.
I wonder if she's sporting that blue hair still. I sure hope so.
She pulls it off, man.
She absolutely does. I don't think anybody could pull it off besides her.
I can't. Let me see if I can head under it.
Most people. Maybe if she wins, maybe I'll come on with some blue hair next week. We'll see.
Oh yeah, you could do it.
Scrolling through the chat here. What's up, Justin? I see you in there.
Dixon wants to know who's our two locks.
Let me pull it up. Dixon
towards the bot. It's newer, like 10 up.
Okay. Dixon, for me, I don't consider anything a lock, but my two most confident picks are probably Fletcher, and it's probably just Fletcher for me, man. On this, I mean, that's probably the most confident one. Gordo, any locks this card for you?
Fletcher and Carpenter are the two to go to, and I think that's a very popular opinion, and I haven't got there to bet them, but I think those are the two most confident picks in my eyes, in Carpenter and Fletcher.
And I actually parlayed Carpenter and Fletcher's money lines. They're my two most confident picks as well.
I agree with that, and they're probably going to be very high owned, so if you like to be contrarian, you need to get away from them.
Okay, so it looks like we are on the same guys there. Dixon, another question here. Has Pauga been KO'd before the Usman fight? As far as I'm concerned, he hasn't, but he only has like 5.
He was 5-0. That was it.
Yeah. It's just, he looks chinny because I don't like the way he reacts to shots. Not just the Usman knockout.
Right.
When you watch him in any of his fights, whenever somebody lands on him, it just looks like it hurts him. And some people just can't take a punch, and that's why I think the under in that fight is so popular. Whether it's Wright landing big or Pauga landing big, I think whoever lands big is gonna get knocked. Gonna get the knockout.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'm very hungry. I'm gonna go make some fish after this, so I'm gonna head out. We'll kick it to you, Weezy. Weezy, you got any content going on tonight? I think you're going live with the Chronic guys, right? Is that tonight?
Yeah, 5 minutes. Chronic
Ooh.
Combat Conversations, Triple C. Let's go. We're going to break down this card from nose to toes, from east to west. We're going to go over all of it. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. You can find me on Pub Sports Radio. You can find me on the MMA Engine. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for this event, everybody.
Gordo, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week for some content.
Yeah, I think I'm done this week, other than the Daily Fan channel tomorrow. But you can find me on YouTube at Plays and Fade Sports, on Twitter at Gambles Gordo, Gordo Gambles, whatever way around. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to the week after that. I'm looking forward to seeing fights, but I'm also just enjoying life, hanging out. So I wish everybody the best of luck, guys. Enjoy the card, and let's make some money.
Yep, sometimes you just gotta enjoy life. So I like that. Monk, how about you? Where can they find you, and what do you have going on throughout the rest of the week for some content?
Absolutely. Check out my game theory video on my channel, Monk Maddox. Salary Voodoo will be out tonight, if possible. If not, first thing in the morning. Just been a long week. Other than that, DFS Army did a show with Kyle and Kevin today. So that will be, that's posted right now. And then me and Lou bet you on Friday on the MMA Engine for Monk and Lou's Happy Hour. Let's go, guys. We'll try to make something out of this card. There's got to be something better next week, right?
Are you and Lou going to fight again this week or no?
No, he tucked tail on his Prado love, and he was like, "Oh, I was all about the under the whole time." I was like, "All right, you're forgiven. Okay. You're forgiven."
Maybe next week we'll get a fight or two.
I did say Pedro was a big fraud, and so people need to respect that. After that, don't put your money on Pedro anymore.
To be fair, he did have diarrhea outside the cage, and he also took a shit inside the cage as well. So that was bad. That was a bad performance by one Tyson. But anyway, you guys can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, TikTok, DFS_numbers. I'm posting videos on Instagram and TikTok every single day nowadays. So a lot of video content over there, those shorter videos that people seem to like. And yeah, other than that, going live Friday, 7:00 p.m. Eastern time, and then live Saturday for Best Bet, 2 hours prior to the prelims. We got Addicted to Combat Patrick on there. We got Narco Cop on there. And then we got someone else on there. I can't think of the third guy, but just know we have.
I think it's Patrick, right?
I said Patrick.
I said
Narco.
Danny Betts.
Danny, yes, Danny. There we go. So we have a solid panel for this week. So check it out. Leave a like, subscribe. Check out that contest for pubsportsradio.com. Get $100 first. And best of luck for UFC Vegas 69. Enjoy the fights and talk to you guys soon.